Hey there everybody, Mazarok here, and today I'm going to be going over the 9.0.5 Protection Warrior. Now, it is no surprise that the Prot War has been dumped on pretty heavily in Shadowlands so far. They are by far the least popular tank, and they weren't in a great place at the start of Shadowlands. Well, we're going to go over the changes that have occurred from 9.0.2 to 9.0.5, why they are in a much better place now, and how much fun they can actually be. Before we do get started, I do stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Come on by and check it out there. Please help that channel grow. And there is D&D on Sundays as well. So times are all in the doobly-doo below. Just go on to the Twitch and it'll all be there. So let's go over to the Prot Warrior. So when we first getting to talents, now there are two separate builds. There is the Rating Prot Warrior and there is the Mythic Plus Prot Warrior. The Rating Prot Warrior was always in a pretty good spot in comparison to the other tanks, but the Mythic Plus one was very much lacking. So we are going to start with the Mythic Plus Prot Warrior. So I've only got these at 210. At this sitting, I'm actually only 25 soul ash away from being able to get it to rank 4, so that's what I wanted to do. So I'm just waiting until a command table mission gives me that soul ash, and I can get this up to rank 4 because it is worth it. You want to go with the Reprisal Legendary. So charge and intervene grant you shield block for 4 seconds, a proc of revenge, and generate 20 rage. This is going to change the way you are going to play in Mythic Plus. So what you're going to start doing is you're going to start charge weaving a lot more. You do not want a heroic leap into a group. You want to charge in because you're immediately going to have a defensive up. You're immediately going to have a good damage dealing ability up on proc, and you're going to be already good to go. So you run in with charge. So my talent build here is you want to be running Devastator in all content, no matter what. So you go Devastator. I prefer double time, although Rumbling Earth in certain dungeons with big packs, really good. And Stormbolt, if you do not trust or you know your group does not have enough stuns and kicks, Stormbolt should be your way to go. I have become a big fan of the charge weaving, and I love double time. So that's how I've been working with it. In the third row, you want Best Serve Cold with Reprisal. So just, yeah, I know. Revenge deals 20% more damage and 50% more damage when you get that proc, and it costs no rage. So it's just huge amounts of revenge damage. It is by far my biggest damaging ability as it goes along. There is a few things to be said. Crackling Thunder, super solid. Bounding Stride, super solid. Pick which one you want. Do you want a wider Thunderclap, or do you want more movement? Now with Bounding Stride, you are able to charge weave that much more often. Indomitable is always your play on this 40 row, and it should always be your play. Now, when we're coming down to 45, I have personally found Ravager, I and a lot of the other warriors have found that Ravager is the absolute way to go for rage generation, for damage, just everything. It lines up pretty nicely with your avatar. And then lastly here you see we've got anger management. So that is the Mythic Plus. Now here you can go with legs or boots. I already had Lego boots for my Thunderlord, so I just made them there to replace them. And it worked out pretty nicely for me that way. So this is the Mythic Plus build. Warriors are so much fun right now, and with everything, all the tools that you got at your disposal, you are just an absolute beast that you can tank so many hits. You can keep your healer alive. I've recently been running with a Holy Paladin for most of my runs, and I've been intervening him, and he's like, why don't I heal myself like anywhere near as much? He's losing HPS performance because I'm constantly intervening him to get my shield block defenses up, generate more rage, and get that revenge going. So for Mythic Plus, Reprisal is the way to go, and this is the build as you see here. Now, when it comes to rating, So when it comes to rating, you want to be running the wall. Now, I love the shoulders, so there's no way you could convince me to not make this. I mean, that Mog looks absolutely amazing. So I made it on the shoulders. So the wall shield slam generates 5 additional rage and reduces the remaining cooldown of shield wall by 5 seconds. This is also a solid pick for Mythic Plus, but this is the better option for raiding, because charge weaving is going to screw up a lot of things in a lot of fights when it comes right down to brass tacks in a raid. So when it comes to raiding, the setup you want is, of course, Devastator. I prefer double time for pretty much everything, but again, Rumbling Earth or Stormbolt is mostly for trash, but your choice. You're not discounting yourself if you don't take it. This is where you're going to want to go back to Booming Voice. So Demo Shout generates a bunch of rage and increases your damage you deal to the affected targets by 20%. All around solid. It's been an all around solid pick, but in raiding, it's the best way to go. Bounding Stride, really. I mean, it's the only thing you're going to get on this row. Crackling Thunder don't matter against raid bosses, and neither does Menace. Indomitable, again, always stick with it. Don't change it. Does not matter. Now, I have seen on this row Into the Fray, and I have used it. It's really, really nice. And as well, I do really, really like, but I've been preferring Ravager. The extra haste for up to 10% is really, really nice, especially if you're not as geared. So maybe if you're a little bit less worried about how much damage you're doing and you already know you have enough threat generation, but you're just not doing everything fast enough, go with Into the Fray. But Ravager is a solid pick. And then, of course, there is a Bolster. So last stand cooldown is reduced by a minute, making it 2, and it grants you the shield block effect for its duration. Combined with the Soulbind, this makes for a really, really solid build. You are a warrior that is just ready to take on everything. Now, as you can see here, I am Night Fae. This is a pick for me very, very early on. I loved Ancient Aftershock. It is good for prot. It is good for, it is great for Fury and Arms, and is all around a very, very solid build. So, when coming to Soulbinds, I prefer doing Mythic Plus with Naya. The mastery bonus off the Grove Invigoration is huge. I do run the Destructive Reverberations. Now, in dungeons, I tend to run with a lot of casters who don't have a lot of stuns, so I opt for Shockwave, although Inspiring Presence is a very, very solid option, which probably should be prioed if you find you don't need Shockwave as much. And then there's, of course, Safeguard. With now the charge weaving and the intervening that you're doing, it's an all-around solid pick. So when it comes to the finesse conduits, you really got 3 good choices. Intimidating Shout, not that great. The cooldown of Shield Wall for Stalwart Guardian is an absolute must for an Endurance Conduit, and that's the way we're going there. I just tested the Brutal Vitality. In all honesty, I would probably stick with Unnerving Focus, no matter which one you're doing. So this is for M+, although if you are using a lot of Ignore Pains, this is a good option. I'm just finding with the charge weaving I'm doing, I'm not having to use as many Ignore Pains. So it's just kind of you have to work with your playstyle. But from now on, I'm actually going to stick with Unnerving Focus, even without Bolster. It's the better of the options. It's a great oh shit moment and increases your rage generation. So in that oh crap moment of you need Bolster, you're also going to get a lot more rage for shield blocks and Ignore Pains. It's all going to work with each other and help you stay alive. And of course there's Naya's Burrs, which is an amazing M+ talent that's just all around good. So if you work with it that way. Now, when it comes to rating, I work with the Karain tree. The extra 10% damage. Who doesn't want extra 10% damage above 75% health? The Unnerving Focus is my go-to because you are running Bolster. Again, Inspiring Presence, Stalwart Guardian, and Destructive Reverberations is my potency conduit here because this is the one I'm trying to get to. When in front of your target, your spells and abilities decrease the damage they inflict on you by 3% for 2 seconds. So you're tanking. You're almost always in front. I mean, a paladin will literally put his devotion aura up to mitigate 3% damage. Why would you not pick this? It is the more solid and safe raid option, and it's just all around really, really good to use. It is a little boring all around what you get, but it's really, really fun. So if you're Night Fae, go with Naya and for M+, and Karain for Karain for rating. Now, I will talk a little bit about the other covenants, because right now with the warrior, there is no bad covenant. They're actually all really good. The Necrolord is a very supportive prot choice, but it does require organized play. You need to know who is standing where, and to move it around to less randomize who's going to get that big mastery buff when you proc it. And there's also the question of when and having to proc it. So perhaps what you have to do is charge in, get aggro, intervene one of your melee to getting out, popping your banner, then charging back in. There is a whole new playstyle to it, but it is a very solid option if you're in an organized group. Kyrian, if you have to kite, is one of the better options. If you're finding yourself not being able to kite as often, you can pop a Spear of Bastion, get away, they're stuck there like a Hunter's Binding Shot. And the damage is not negligible at all. It is very, very good. And of course, with Kyrian, you get the Vials. You can get rid of all sorts of nasty things. Grievous, I think like Necrotic and things like that. It's pretty crazy. I don't know exactly. I haven't played a Kyrian, but there's that. And then there's, if you're looking for more single target damage, or if you're playing a DPS Arms or Fury on Venthyr, you obviously have Condemn. So Condemn is actually is a great option for single target. So if you're raiding, maybe Venthyr is a good it would be a solid pick for you. Because the Condemn, changing your execute around, is a very, very solid option, and Door of Shadows is nothing to laugh at either, and the haste from some of the trees you can get there good. So Warrior is one of the nice ones right now, where you can pick a covenant, and no matter which one you pick, it's a good pick. So with that, find the ability that you like. Don't worry about min-maxing that extra little 10 DPS or whatnot. Pick a covenant you like and work with it. I just really like the Ancient Aftershock ability. I really, really like Shockwave, and hence why I put the Conduit in for Shockwave. So having that mass kick on Shockwave is a very, very solid ability, and this keeps doing damage. Now, the thing with the Night Fae is you need to be keeping these people into it, because it does deal a damage over time as long as people stand into it. So it's something you need to be aware of. But you just have so much at your disposal for being a protection warrior right now. You have so many defensives with Demo Shout, Shield Wall, Shield Block, Ignore Pain. You've got a lot. Now, this is one of the busier specs. The ceiling to getting this down is a lot higher than other tanks. So if you really, really want to learn tank mechanics and how to utilize them, like for example, we were just running a Theater of Pain earlier, and I was not taking any damage on the Reaping Scythe on the last boss. And the healer was like, WTF, I'm like overhealing you because I'm expecting you to get chunked. But that's because I know that Spell Reflect completely mitigates all of that damage. Where is Spell Reflex on this? Spell Reflection actually mitigates like all of it. It gets rid of it. So you don't get, it's the big tank buster and you get to negate it. But if you don't know, you're going to get chomped, just like every other tank. So there's a lot more to learn. Which spells can you Spell Reflect? Which physical abilities can you shield block? And you'd be surprised once you know how much you can get away with. Everybody likes to say like the DKs are the negator type tanks, where bosses will have tank busters or these abilities, and you know, you can just be like, nope, that doesn't happen. Well, warriors have a lot of that too. It's just a lot more subtle, and you need to know which is which and when to do it. So there is a lot more homework. In the doobly-doo below, someone has done the homework, not me, on what can be shield blockable and what can be spell reflected. This has been an amazing resource for me. Please use it yourself. I think it's still live, but it is just like, I'll pop it up before every dungeon and kind of look through it and remember from previous dungeons some of the more nasty things that have happened to me and what I can do to negate it, really. When it comes to stats for your warrior, you're going to prio haste and verse. Haste is pretty much your go-to right now. There's not a lot of it, so you want to try and get it up as much as possible, because more haste means more shield blocks, means more this, means more that. It really does flow with each other. So I know I was Fury for a bit before I went Prot, but yeah. So in 9.0.5, Prot got a 10% aura buff and another 10% to Thunderclap, which by the way has become... It's still not great. Thunderclap is still not that great, but it is enough. It's 7% of my damage. But with Reprisal, Revenge is coming to the clear top with Shield Slam. And Deep Wounds actually being pretty good. So as you can see here, Reprisal really is it. Now this is our last wipe on a boss with this is our last wipe with a group that just wasn't dealing much damage. So that's what it was. But you can see here, Spike Burrs, Naya's Burrs, 5%. Sometimes when you pug DPS for footage, it doesn't always work out well, because not everybody knows what they're doing. But that's exactly it. But Prot Warrior, from the healers I've been talking to that have been healing me, have been surprised at how incredibly good Prot Warrior has become, how incredibly defensive. If you play it right and you keep your cool and you don't stack all of your defenses at once, you know, you don't want to be doing Demo Shout and Shield Wall to negate 75% of the damage for 8 seconds and then you just get chomped for the rest. Spread everything out. The ones that you can overlap are Shield Block and Ignore Pain if you have to, but try and save Ignore Pain for when you do not have Shield Block up. You should be having Shield Block up with Reprisal about 80% effective time. So I've been managing, with the way I've been playing, I've been managing consistently about 75 to 78% effective uptime. I'm not quite at that 80 yet, but I'm also not amazing yet. So I'm really working at getting better and proving the whole Prot Warrior community, and proving to everybody that Prot Warriors are really good. And just going from there. I know I don't have the right trinkets. I've been farming a blood scale and it won't come. Neglecting Spike is the highest thing I have, so, and it does some healing, so I'm using it. Really, it's what it is. Dread Fire Vessel is just more damage, which is nice. So this is my Prot Warrior guide. If you have any questions, anything like that for me, please leave it down in the comment below. My pick for Top Covenant, if you're focusing on M+, would definitely be Night Fae or Necrolords if you do not pug at all and you are with a set amount of people, set group, and that you can work with it. Aside from that, the Night Fae damage off Ancient Aftershock, the group kick that you get, and just everything that goes along with it is way, it's just so worth it. Kyrian being a very close second. Necrolord and kind of Night Fae being tied for first. But if you pick one, the other one would go third. Kyrian should absolutely be a consideration for you. Spear Bastion is no joke, and the file can absolutely save you in many situations. So think about that one. And Venthyr, if you're planning on doing any PvP, or if you want just more single target, or if you like the things. That's kind of the way I would go with it. But I fall in love with Ancient Aftershock. It's fantastic. It works really well. So that is my Prot Warrior guide. If you have any questions for me, again, please please leave them down in the comment section below. Again, I stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Come on by, check that out. All the links are in the doobly-doo below. And if you like D&D, I DM a game every Sunday night on stream. Come on by, check that out, and we're going to go from there. Perfect. So I hope you guys are enjoying Shadowlands as much as I am, and have yourselves a good day. Bye.